If you're south of the river in Brisbane, like Annerley, Tarragindi, Holland Park or Green Slopes, and your pain is still driving you crazy even after all the scans and all the treatments, then listen up. This is for you. Let me ask you a question. When they told you that your scan is clear, or there's nothing to worry about, or we don't need to operate on this, do you actually feel relieved after hearing that? Or did you walk out thinking, okay, but why does it still hurt? What do I need to do now? This is exactly where people get stuck. Why? Because you did everything right. You booked the MRI, you waited for the results. You read that report hoping it would finally explain why you can't sit properly, you can't train properly, or you can't even relax without thinking about your pain. And instead, all you got told was that it's fine, or worse, let's just see how it goes. So now you're stuck in this weird in-between space. You're not injured enough for it to be dramatic, but you're certainly not comfortable enough to live normally either. And this is when the slow shift starts. First, you skip the gym just for a couple of weeks. Then you notice you're being a bit more careful lifting your kids or perhaps looking over your shoulder. And then you start thinking about your spine every time you bend forward or you look down. And before too long, one wrong twist feels like it could set you back months. That is exhausting. Here's the thing, a scan shows structure. It can rule out serious stuff, which is important, but it doesn't show you how strong your spine is, how conditioned it is, and it doesn't show how well your muscles are supporting you. And it certainly doesn't show how sensitive your nervous system has become after months of guarding and avoiding. See, here's the thing, pain isn't just about damage, it's about protection. Let me tell you a story. They've scanned large groups of people with absolutely no back pain and no neck pain living completely normal lives, and a big percentage of them had disc bulges and degeneration on the MRI. If you'd looked at the image alone, you'd think they should be in agony. But here's the thing, they weren't. In fact, there was another study that came out at the start of 2026 which reported that in 602 pain-free over 40s with zero shoulder pain, there was rotator cuff abnormalities in 595 of them. 98.7% of people had zero pain but had something showing up on their scan. Here's the thing, if your scan looks scary, that doesn't automatically mean that you're fragile. And if your scan looks normal and you're still in pain, that doesn't mean that you're imagining it. It means that the scan isn't showing the whole story. At times, it's barely scratching the surface. Let me tell you what I see every single week here in the clinic. Someone comes in with a mild disc bulge and they've completely changed how they live as a result. They've backed off the gym, they've stopped lifting their kids confidently, and they've started moving like one wrong twist could set them back 6 weeks or more. You see, they're not weak people. They've just lost strength and confidence without realizing it. When people like you are properly assessed in the clinic, we find that discs and joints themselves aren't usually the main driver. What we find is reduced strength, reduced load tolerance, and a nervous system that's been on high alert for months or even years. So we rebuild it all together. Strength is measured properly, then we increase what the back or neck can tolerate, we calm the system down, and as the capacity improves, the pain settles and confidence comes back. The structural findings on your scan or age-related wear and tear doesn't always change, but life does. That's why at our clinic in Annerley, we don't treat scans, we treat people. We take the time to understand what your spine can actually handle, what exercises your busy life might be able to fit in, and then we rebuild it step by step. Now, can I ask you something honestly? How long are you going to keep living like this? Not injured enough to be dramatic, but not comfortable enough to forget about your pain either. You wake up, you move around and you have a check of it. You think about it before you bend. You hesitate before you train. It's always there in the background. Maybe you've told yourself it's not that bad, or I'll just manage it. But here's the real question. If nothing changes, where are you in 12 months' time? Still modifying everything? Still avoiding certain movements? Still wondering if this is just your new normal? I'm just getting old. Because pain's a slippery slope. Once you start avoiding things that you once did, then you lose strength. And when you lose strength, your system becomes more protective. And slowly, before you even realize it, life gets smaller. I want your life to be bigger and bolder. You don't need to live cautiously. You need to rebuild capacity properly. When your body is strong enough to handle what you ask of it, your brain stops sounding the alarm. Confidence returns. Movement feels normal again. If you're on the south side and you're tired of tiptoeing around it instead of tackling it head on, let's start with a free 15-minute phone call. Let's make sure that 12 months from now looks very different to the last 12. Let's crack your case together. I look forward to meeting you soon.